I don't get the sense that anybody's got a really good idea to do that, Tom.
No, I don't. That's why we have to just keep on talking till they start to listen. Interestingly, when Meltdown came out in 2009, I was able to get on, like Michael Medved and big name people talking about ending the Fed, and they were listening respectfully. They weren't saying this is some crazy thing that my uncle says and that I'm not going to listen to. They were saying, well, let's consider it.
Yeah, where are they now?
Well, of course now they've all changed their tune and whatever, but it doesn't matter because what Ron Paul has done is he has put this issue front and center, and it's never going away. There is now going to forever be an anti-Fed sentiment in the country where the Fed had managed to stay non-political all this time. It's very, very interesting, and the Fed we get the sense that it's a technical thing that no one can understand, and kind of boring. It's not. The fact that you're getting ripped off is not in any way boring. It is,
no.
It's something you should want to look into.
Yeah, not happy about that. Let me ask you about the bubbles. And I'm not talking Lawrence Welk here. You got the tech bubble, the real estate bubble. Now we're looking at the debt and dollar bubble, and that one looks like the mother of all bubbles. That one looks like it. This could have beyond. We're not just talking serious consequences. We're talking about disastrous civil unrest, major societal impact. Do you have a thought on that?
Well, I do think that it's not. I'm not somebody, by the way, who always sees the glass half empty, and so I'm just always a perma-bear, and I'm never going to see the silver lining in anything. I'm not that way at all. But when I look around the world, I don't think that what's going on in some European countries, most notably Greece, but not just Greece. I mean, it could be Spain and Portugal and Italy and Ireland is in big trouble. I don't think it's so far off that someday the U.S. government will have the same problem. If it keeps on doing this, how is it going to keep financing trillion-dollar-a-year budgets, deficits? Where's that going to come from? So yeah, you might be able to finance that if you're willing to pay much higher interest to people who are going to lend to you, and then that means it's much more costly to run these deficits. Right now, by 2020, even if the interest rates stay low, by 2020, at the rate we're going, it's going to be $1 trillion a year the U.S. government is spending on interest payments alone. But what if interest rates double, which is entirely possible, or triple, which is entirely possible? Then $3 trillion just on interest? That's a problem. This is not just something that's in my imagination. This is real.
Yeah, well, we talk about it quite a bit here. I mean, I've certainly had the conversation with Lou. Walter Williams has been by. I mean, we get into it pretty heavy, and I just want to make sure. I want the audience to know that the brick wall that we talk about, from time to time is. On the other side of that brick wall, there's serfdom. That's the way Hayek talked about. We're on the road again, as you pointed out in your latest, and. The route seems to be pretty direct. I get the sense, Tom, that I'd like to think that we're acting more, instead of the glass half empty, type. We're doing more of a Paul Revere type role here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing is to alert people. And I thought one of the best lines that Ron Paul had in his interview on Meet the Press over the weekend was, "Here we are in the middle of a worldwide sovereign debt crisis that could affect everyone in the world, and in the Republican debates, we're arguing over who's mowing Mitt Romney's lawn."
Right.
I mean, talk about inane, that it could even possibly support somebody who thinks this is even remotely relevant at a time like this.
Well, I'm not a big fan, but I did see a headline. I haven't gotten to the story yet. That looks like Rick Perry is going to walk away from the debates because they're inane, they're banal, they're irrelevant. I would like to see I'd always like to see Ron Paul do the same thing and say there's no point in this. This is just this is media manipulation by that. I saw that Meet the Press interview. I would like to think that David Gregory, if he has half a brain and an IQ larger than his shoe size, he actually learned something because Ron Paul took him to school on a number of things that Gregory was trying to slip in with his weasel-worded questions.
Very well. He's very good when you give him time to explain himself and not try to cut him off all the time. Now, Perry's comments, I think, are basically correct about the structure of the debates and the sorts of questions that are asked and the focus. They're just looking for some big celebrity gossip. Well, this one nailed that one on this issue. But I think it would be a little bit more plausible it would have more credibility if these comments of his hadn't come in the wake of his own disastrous performances in the debate. He's done really well in them. I rather doubt he'd be saying, these things are terrible and I'm not coming back.
Yeah, I don't hear Mitt Romney saying that.
Saying we're not coming back.
Right, right, exactly. Well, I wrote a note to Lou today. The idea that Ron gets so summarily ignored in these things that since he's got that minute every time they ask a question, they got a minute. Just say, I'm not gonna answer that dumbass question. Well, he wouldn't say that, but Brian Wilson channeling Ron Paul. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
Wilson Paul candidate.
Yeah, there we go. Smuggle me in the back. I'm not going to answer that question. I think that let's get down to serious nut cutting here. Is the Social Security not a Ponzi scheme? Is it not going to go broke? It is not going to serve the people that are paying into it. Why don't we just come out and say it? I want to ask the rest of the people up here on the Diaz. Do you have the stones to raise your hand and say, yeah, that's right? Come on. And with my other 30 seconds, how about this? What about the economy? What about these other questions? What about that? Let's make a stand here. Let's talk something intelligent and something that has meaning to the rest of the country instead of going through this Bickerson's crap that that whomever is tossing out here. I really like to see him do that. It would be strong. It would be leadership. It would co-opt the host. It would put the people up there on the stage, in a position that they got to answer a hard question for a change instead of doing their tap dance.
Yeah, or just say, look, we're going through. This isn't just a garden variety recession here. This is a world historic moment, and everybody else on stage thinks it can be dealt with by shuffling taxes around a little bit and repealing a few regulations. You've got to be kidding me. So in other words, your ideas are just talking points from 1983, that's going to fix this crisis, a crisis that not one other person on this stage even remotely saw coming. I mean, Herman Cain, 1 week before Fannie and Freddie went under and the whole implosion began, said everything was fine. I mean, that disqualifies you right off the bat because you obviously are clueless about what causes ups and downs in the economy. How could you possibly fix the problem if you couldn't tell the difference between a healthy economy and a bubble one?
Well, I just don't get the sense, Tom, that I'd like to think that the American electorate is looking at this as it has been defined. That this is, regardless of your age, this is the moment. This is the election of a lifetime. If elections have any meaning, if they have any weight and significance, this is it. This is the big one, Martha. And if we're going to make our decision on who we're going to vote for based on what a nice suit or head of hair or whether or not you can remember 999, that kind of business, I don't want to be a downer either. But it's like, geez, this is not looking good.
No, afraid not. But to me, the silver lining is that the what Albert J. Nock called the remnant, the people who kind of know the score, who really understand what's going on, who can't be bought by the plastic men with their fake haircuts and all that. That number is growing, but maybe not fast enough to save things, but maybe fast enough to help put things together when they come apart.
Well, if more people would spend more time at TomWoods.com, pick up those 3 books, read them for Christmas, get yourself some smarts. I mean, they're really great books. They're direct to the point. Even I could understand them, which tells you just how compelling a read they are. And it's not a commercial for the books. It's more of a direction of where you can get solid, hardcore, useful, provocative, compelling, important information that can change your life, change your outlook, and change your opinion and knowledge on so many things. And I'm a fan. I love the work you do. I love the way you do it. And if you weren't just so damn busy, we'd have you on here more often. But I'll call and bug you on it again in a few weeks.
Appreciate that, Brian. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure's mine, sir. Thanks a lot. Tom Woods, Thomas E. Woods Jr., his website, TomWoods.com. We're very late, 4:57. Straight ahead here on Speedy.